out, bitch! Y'all were in there, bro. Shut the fuck up. Exactly right. Y'all weren't in there. People are fucking dying. I'm gonna save somebody's life. That's somebody's kid.
Two hands to the sky.
I'm gonna save them.
Two hands to the sky. Two hands up, y'all. Two hands up. Y'all know what y'all came to do. Chase me. Let's go.
You gotta hold people in the pit. We'll take care of them.
I wanna make this motherfucking great. That's okay with you real quick. Chase me. Let's do it.
I'm kind of sensitive to the fact that I'm making this video because before Astroworld went down, my best friend and podcast partner, Get Like Coop, hit me up and said, yo, Mike, I'm going to Astroworld. You should come by. So I have a buddy that was literally there. He's going to talk to us about his experience on the Laced Up podcast. We should be able to have that out to you guys on Wednesday. And pretty much the way he described it to me was it was pretty much a concert from hell. Now, something you should know about me, man, I'm actually a really big festival goer. I was at EDC about 2 weeks ago. I'm going to Rolling Loud in about a month. I'm going to go see Rufus Du Sol next week. And I've just been going to festival after festival after festival. I've been to like 8 EDCs. I've been to multiple Coachellas. Like, it's something that I just genuinely enjoy doing. I think it's something that keeps me young. And it's something that I usually go to, and thankfully I've only had positive experiences at. But I have been to festivals that just didn't have their shit together. Like EDC just recently stopped having people die at their festivals. They used to have a huge problem with this, but this is a festival that has hundreds and thousands, I think something like 400,000 to 500,000 people at the festival. And even then, if they have one person die or two people die just because they didn't take care of themselves or for other reasons, that's considered to be a huge tragedy. And they recently, over the past couple of years, got to a point where people, thankfully, have not been dying at their festival. And it's something I noticed when I went this past year, man. Like, you'll be at a set at EDC and randomly you'll just see like two dudes in purple shirts coming up, like smiling, called crowd control or something like that, giving everyone high fives, making sure everyone's okay. It's spaced out properly, and I guess this past year they didn't really sell out, mainly because I guess people were afraid due to COVID, and as a result, you didn't really see as many people really having as many issues. But in this case, man, the Astroworld stories are just so sad, and I wanted to wait for all the information to come out before I made a video on this channel. And it's something that I'm really bummed out about because Travis is someone that I've always wanted to see perform, and I am a fan of his. I do enjoy his music, but the way this went down is absolutely the saddest thing I've ever seen. And the crazy thing is, like, Travis kind of has a history of doing this where people get injured at his concert, but it's kind of swept under the rug. It's part of his brand. He likes telling people to go crazy and just lose their minds and just give into the energy at his concerts. And in the past, there's been signs of this, man. Like, take a look at this. He was arrested by Chicago police after the rapper encouraged Lollapalooza attendees to climb over the security barricades and storm the stage. The Houston rapper's festival performance lasted just 5 minutes before being shut down after dozens of fans joined Scott on stage. Scott was arrested soon after and charged with disorderly conduct. One fan was also charged in the incident. Or check this out. Rapper and producer Travis Scott was arrested Saturday night after his concert in Northwest Arkansas. Police say that Scott was arrested after he encouraged fans to rush the stage and bypass security protocols. He faces charges of endangering a minor, disorderly conduct, and inciting a riot. And even, like, take a look at his lyrics, man. Like, when you make it to the top, that's the amenities. Packing out Toyota like I'm in the league, and it ain't a mosh pit if ain't no injuries. I got him stage diving out the nosebleeds. So he does have a track record of doing this type of stuff. But when you listen to some of these stories, it's just the saddest thing. Like, this one, and this is before we get to the videos, by the way. The videos are traumatic. You literally hear screams from the crowd in these videos, which we'll get to in a sec. But Look at this story. I just left Astroworld Festival, and let me say this. As someone who's been to every Astrofest there's been, this was completely different. It was awful. I passed out because people were pushing up against me so much that I couldn't breathe. Sam got people to apparently crowd surf my unconscious body to the security guard, and I got carried to a little section behind GA and put down on a stool thing. When I woke up, I had a water bottle in my lap and had no clue what had happened. So this woman could have easily died. Like, if it wasn't for somebody somehow getting her unconscious body to crowd surf all the way to a security guard, this woman could have easily been dead. When I stood up, I looked around and people were getting carried out with eyes rolled back into their heads by security, bleeding from their nose and mouth. I yelled, "Has anybody checked a pulse?" The security guard, frantic, asked me to please help him. I checked 2 people and 1 did not have a pulse. I told him I was an ICU nurse, and then another security guard hearing that said, "Please come help us." He takes me to the part of the crowd behind GA where I see 3 bodies sprawled out and people who I assume were medics/medical staff doing CPR. I immediately see that there is not enough medics for this, so I relieve 1 medic of CPR. I ask where the ambu bag is, where the AED is, where the stretcher and the ambulance is, where the fuck any shit is, and they said essentially there is none. There's 1 ambu bag, 1 stretcher, and 1 AED for 3, now 4 people who are pulseless and blue. People from the crowd were trying to help. Teenagers are doing CPR trying to help, but they're doing it incorrectly. Then I see there's other people doing CPR on people who still have a pulse because nobody has done a pulse check. It was an absolute shit show. I lost Sam for I don't even know how long, but for the remainder of the concert, I was doing compressions, bagging, and helping move people to stretchers and checking pulses on new bodies as they got crowd surfed to where we were. People were trampled, crushed. There was no cell service to call for more help. People were begging the crew operating the stage lights and stuff around us to stop the concert, and they wouldn't. And there is actual footage of multiple angles of people trying to climb up to the stage and address the crew and say, "Yo, stop the concert. People are dying here." Here's another story, man, and this one's even more sad. At least this poor woman was able to live, but you literally see her in a hospital bed saying, "Last night I almost died. Seriously, I was in the crowd near the front. Travis just came on stage and the crowd got crazy. I was immediately pushed to the ground. I was flat on the ground and about 5 other people were on top of me. I was at the very bottom. I couldn't breathe. I was screaming for help. Please help me. Y'all are killing me," is what I screamed in fear. That tonight could have possibly been my last. I was being crushed, stepped on continuously for 2 minutes straight. Eventually, a random guy saw me struggling. His eyes opened wide and he grabbed me, pulling me up saying, "You need to get out of here." And that's what I did. I'm thanking God that I'm alive. He saved me. He heard me praying on the ground. God, if I die here, please just take me to heaven. As I struggled for air, my lungs being crushed by people. 8 people have been confirmed dead. Please continue praying for their souls. Bro, I'm sure some of you guys have seen this video of a man, like, literally look at this guy's eyes as he's talking about the concert.
These people about to lose their motherfucking lives, you know what I'm saying? So I pulled out this one boy. This boy, he probably like 14 years old. This a little bitty teenager, bro. This one lady, I kid you not, in the VIP section, literally put her hands on this boy and assaulted this boy and started hitting him like, "Didn't I tell y'all don't jump the fuck over?" So I end up screaming like, "Who the fuck is you to tell somebody what the fuck they can do? Like, this ain't your motherfucking concert. Don't nobody give a fuck about what motherfucking ticket you paid for. Like, these people need some help." So I'm helping people, I'm pulling people out. And like, it just felt like we was like literally like in hell, bro. Like, it felt like we was in a concert in hell. You couldn't breathe, you couldn't see. Like, just imagine all the people they gonna find tonight who was in that crowd, who nobody could see, who nobody could hear, who passed out, and everybody was just trampling on top of them the whole concert. Like, I'm thinking it's probably gonna be like at least 100 people who dead tonight. Like, I kid you not. Like, in the VIP section, it was so many bodies laid out. People was getting pulled out who was fainted. And the people were the medics were trying to give them CPR, and they was flipping them over, and like they was literally turning black and blue. Like, I never seen death in my fucking life, bro. Just by me alone, it was probably like 10 people laid out dead. And like, once the medics tried to help them, they wasn't responding. They moved to the next person. It was nothing they could have do. Like, this shit really fucked me up and like really spooked me tonight. Like, that was like some demonic shit. Like, and what was so crazy, like, people were screaming help, trying to tell Travis Scott. They was like, help. The whole crowd was just going like, help, help, help. And he just kept going, bro. It was like, it was scary, bro. It was so demonic, bro. And mind you, y'all see the type of music I make. Y'all see everything, like, you know, like, I've been so heavily influenced by Travis, but like, after tonight, bro, like, God really showed me, like, you know, like, stay away from that shit, bro. Like, that shit not for you, because like, he sacrificed so many people's lives tonight, like, for real. Like, so many people's lives are gone tonight because they want to go to a Travis Scott concert and have fun. You know, he influenced people to be raging and all this shit. So many people broke in, and it was just chaos, bro. It was a living fucking hell, bro. Imagine seeing all those dead bodies, and that was just by me. And the shit got so bad, I was sitting on top of the gate. I was pulling so many people in, helping so many people, and people was just screaming.
This story is probably one of the worst, man. Astroworld was a complete disaster, and this is my story about my near-death experience. I was behind about 7 rows of people towards the front of the crowd. When the timer hit 10 minutes before the concert started, people started pushing so hard that I could not move my arms, and my chest was being squished to the point where I could not breathe. Also, there was a lack of oxygen due to the amount of people around me. I told my friend that I have to go back, or if not, I was gonna pass out. About 30 seconds before the concert started, a girl next to me was trying to go to the back too. She was crying and screaming her vocal cords out to people to get out of the way. But the concert started and no one would listen. The whole world around me collapsed as we were stuck like animals on a cage trying to breathe and get out, but there was no space left to move. Waves of people pushing from all sides were occurring simultaneously. Some people were screaming to get out of the way, trying to help us, but their efforts were invalid, since people were too busy trying to see Travis. All of a sudden, a big wave from one side pushed people into the floor when Travis said, "Alright, now everyone move side to side." And that's when I was stampeded into the ground and lost my friend in the crowd. People started stepping on me and falling on top of me. I was buried beneath 2 people. Since I was against the plastic ground, there was no oxygen, and the very little light that was available disappeared because of the bodies on top of me. I was screaming as loud as my body permitted to help me. I was trying to move for people to be aware that I was at the bottom of them, but I could not move at all. I was screaming, "I can't breathe, I'm going to die." More than 300 pounds were crushing my body. I felt hopelessness like I have never felt before as I tried to move people on top of me away from me without a single budge. In complete darkness, I was hearing another girl screaming that she also couldn't breathe, and I was simultaneously holding another person's hand underneath everyone. It felt like we were really in this together, accepting the same fate. I really thought I was going to die at the concert. In my last gasp of air, I accepted what I thought was death. I became unconscious for about 5 minutes, then all of a sudden I got a big gasp of air and saw a tunnel of light where people on top of me were getting up. Someone pulled me out of the sinkhole of people. I could not keep myself up or my jaw closed. Parts of my brain felt numb. I don't know if it was because of the lack of oxygen or from the pressure of people on top of me. The pressure above me was so severe my left contact fell off. My leg was injured from the pressure of being beneath 2 rows of people. Then I saw a guy on the floor on the same pit I was in, and people were saying he was dead. They could barely make room for him because of how packed it was. I was in shock for everything that happened. I could not believe the concert was still going on after seeing multiple people injured. I could not believe the indifference of some people as there were dead people a few feet away from them. I was alone and screaming to the people around me that I couldn't breathe and I needed to get out. My screams were unheard as the music was too loud and Travis was not stopping the concert, and I experienced another 10 minutes of hell as people were trying to avoid falling again due to the waves of people pushing. I could not get out, then people started making way for paramedics with a stretcher for the guy. I went behind them as I needed to get out of the crowd. I kept asking for the medical tent, but they were just told me to sit down. Once the concert finished, I was by myself without a cell phone because it got crushed and lost underneath the people. I went to the emergency tents where a paramedic carried me, and I sat down for a moment where I was soon kicked out since there were several dead people receiving CPR. It was a very traumatic experience. They gave me a heat blanket since I was shaking because of the coldness of the night. Then I left because they were offering an ambulance to take me to the hospital, but I do not have insurance, so I could not afford the bills. Almost no one had service on their phones, but finally finally I found some people who did. And after a few phone calls, I got in contact with the friends that I got separated from during the Don Toliver concert because my friend had an asthma and panic attack due to the severe pushing and pressure even then. I left to the parking spots limping, cold and alone. Currently, I am full of bruises, cannot correctly step on my right leg, and my right arm is partially numb from what I believe is a damaged nerve. Despite all of this, I am very fortunate and grateful to have gotten out alive from the pit of people. The tragedy that happened should never be repeated ever again. It should not have happened in the first place. My deepest condolences to all the people that died and their families. I will make a statement with the Houston police. I hope future measures and responsibilities will be taken so this will never have to be repeated. And like, here's probably the scariest part, man. Like, there's multiple angles of this one gentleman in the white doing everything he can to try to get Travis's attention, or at least the crew's attention, to stop the concert. And then you hear Travis in the back say, "Who asked me to stop? You already know what you guys came here to do." There's just so much bad from this concert. There's multiple camera views of Travis Scott asking to have a body removed from the crowd. He continued to perform 37 minutes after Houston officials declared a mass casualty event at Astroworld, with fans crushed near the stage. And to even make this worse, this isn't necessarily Travis's fault, but this is just like the icing on the cake. Apparently there was some lunatic running around just stabbing people with drugs with a needle. Like, what? Now, here's the thing. Travis did apologize, but man, look at this apology, bro.
I just want to send out prayers to the ones that was lost last night. We're actually working right now to identify the families so we can help assist them through this tough time. You know, my fans really mean the world to me, and I always just really want to leave them with a positive experience. And anytime I can make out, you know, anything that's going on, I stop the show and, you know, help them get the help they need, you know. I could just never imagine the severity of the situation. We've been working closely with everyone to just try to get to the bottom of this. The City of Houston, HPD, Fire Department, you know, everyone to, you know, help us figure this out. So if you have any information, you know, please just contact your local authorities. Everybody continue to just keep your prayers. I mean, I'm honestly just devastated, and I could never imagine anything like this just happening. And I'm gonna do everything I can to keep you guys updated and just keep you guys informed on what's going on. Love you all.
The dude looks like he is hungover, half asleep, rubbing his head, thinking, what am I supposed to say next? And why the hell is there a black and white filter on this, dude? Look, I'm a little empathetic to dudes that need to give apologies for horrible stuff they did, because it seems like no matter what you do, in this instance, you're not going to be forgiven. I've seen many social media apologies. There hasn't been one where I said, hey, I like this apology, he's coming from a good place. But this is a new level of being superficial. There doesn't seem to be any empathy in his voice. He doesn't seem to understand the gravity of his actions, and this is something he's done repeatedly. He's been arrested for it before. He seemed desensitized to the whole thing, if I'm being honest. Now, Kylie Jenner came out and gave a statement as well, saying, Travis and I are broken and devastated. My thoughts and prayers are with all who lost their lives, were injured, or affected in any way by yesterday's events, and also for Travis, who I know cares deeply for his fans in the Houston community. I want to make it clear that we weren't aware of any fatalities until the news came out after the show, and in no world would have continued filming or performing. I'm sending my deepest condolences to all the families during this difficult time, and will be praying for the healing of everyone who has been impacted. So yeah, man, this is just an absolutely horrific situation. And look, if you're ever at a music festival and you just get these signs, like if it's way too cramped in there, I've been to a Coachella set that was just way too freaking cramped and said, all right, I'm not doing this. I'm just gonna go eat something instead, or I'm just gonna sit this one out. I'm gonna take a little break here. It's never worth it, honestly. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you're at the festival, if you have a story to share, you could send it to me on Instagram or Twitter or in the comment section as well. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.